The reality of the matter here, and why we're here to talk to you, why we're here to spend so much time talking to you, is that it's not about me, just like it's never going to be about you, right? Think about this. In a day and age when everything is insta-fast, it's all about you. You guys are the #1 branders in the world. I'm positive you already told the world where you're at. Hey, I'm in jail. Right? Hopefully it's the last time you're ever in jail, right? And we know it is. That's why we're here to invest so much time and effort in you. So first off, I want to say thank you for having me. I'm pretty pumped, you know. I get paid to come speak to a lot of, you know, people, big groups, big CEOs, big corporations and stuff about leadership, motivation, moving up and moving out. But this, I would pay to come talk to you. Does anyone know why? Why? Yeah. You are the future. And as ridiculous and cliche as that may sound, right, when you're writing your college essays about, oh, I'm the future, the reality of the matter is nobody here, nobody sitting along this wall got here without somebody recognizing that they were the future, right? So part of my journey, right, is looking back and making sure we grab as many of you guys that want to be, right, here, and we make sure we put what's in here, but mostly what's in here, in there. All right? So, would it surprise anyone to you know, like, oh, I have 4 college degrees, right? Ooh. Would it surprise anyone if you think that I failed out of college? No. It wouldn't surprise you? Well, let me tell you something. It surprised my wallet book when I owed like $40K after failing out of college, right? I remember, like, so I was wholly unprepared to go to school. I get to New Orleans. I'm going to Loyola, New Orleans. I literally picked it out of a map. I was like, my high school counselor was like, hey, where are you going to school? I was like, oh, do we have to apply to school already? It was like November, different times, y'all, different times. It was like November of my senior year. And I don't think I went to a full week of high school ever. I skipped like every single week, at least a full day. It's because I didn't have an SRO like that guy right there, right? But I will tell you this. I get to school, I'm completely immature. The drinking age is 18. I'm thinking, you know, my curriculum says party. I got an A in that one, right? I got an A in that one. But then as we fast forward, you know, end of my sophomore year, Mom shows up in a car, and I thought that was odd. She like calls me on the phone, and she's like, can you come to the back of the fraternity house? I'm like, what? I open it up, I've got like a t-shirt on, a shorts on, nothing else. Oh, hey Mom, what's up? She goes, get in the car, we're leaving. I was like, what? And I was like, Emma, guess what? I'm an adult now. You can't tell me what to do, right? Now, I don't know if you've ever told a Hispanic mother that you can't tell me what to do, but it didn't go that way. But I stood my ground, you know, I'm like, let's be an adult. Come on, homie. You can't tell me what to do anymore. And guess what? She goes, if I have to tell your grandmother to get out of the car, you know, all 4'2" of her, and tell you, I was like, is Abuela in the car? I'm on the way. Right? I'm on the way. So we jump in, and it was the biggest ride of shame. That was 18 hours from New Orleans going all the way back to Miami, right? How am I going to face it? Like, who here is not going to college? Is everyone's plan to go to college, right? So what's it like when you're like an overachiever like you guys, and then you get to turn around and tell your peer group, oh, bro, I failed out of school, right? And then I got to go home and face my family. You know, we got to this country, and I had all these opportunities, and I literally just wasted it. You know what I mean? I literally just threw it away. So in our short time together, we're going to end up talking about a few things that I think you need to know before you leave here, right? This is an incredible week, right? You guys are here. Where's everybody else? Right? On the beach, partying, investing in not in themselves, but in some fun. Where are you? Sitting in uniforms, getting told what to do, where to be, invest. So I'm proud of you. This is incredible. But the first thing I need you to understand, what we need you to do, is go out there and fail. Go out there and fail. We learn more from when we try and don't succeed than from we win. Winning comes way too easy, right? In this world, man, you're the best. You're a rising star. Guess what stars do? They go up and they go down, right? They go up and they go down. But no one has ever told you it's okay to go down. It's okay not to win. I want you to win. You are winners already. But it is important to fail. The difference, what happens when you fail, right, determines who you're going to be. Are you going to be the boss? Right? Are you going to be the business owner? Are you going to be the leader? Right? When you fail, you learn more. I got to tell you, I have started more businesses that are in the trash heap than you can imagine. Right? I have done more things in my life that didn't work out. But I'll tell you, the reason I'm standing in front of you, the reason that I have the title I have today is because, not because I won, not because I got awards, but because I failed and then learned how to succeed. So I need you to what? Fail. And when you do, you wear it like a badge of honor, right? So you start a business, and you're on your social media, you put it out there, and then you got to shut it down because this time it didn't work. Oh man, what are my friends going to think? You know what I'm going to think? I think you're a stud because you tried. You put it out there. You took a risk when nobody else will. Period. So I need you to fail and fail hard. Next. Let's see if we got a term that you understand. I need you to grind. I need you to grind, and you're going to grind hard. Right? Look, as we coddle you and we tell you you're the best thing since sliced bread, oh my God, this is a nice little soft world. There's someone out there that's doing what? Grinding and sacrificing. So I bet you're like, dude, where you just told me I'm sitting here, I'm awesome, you're proud of me. Yeah, that was about a couple minutes ago. What have you been doing now? And that's the story of life, right? If you don't sacrifice for what you want, put a goal, focus, and get there, then what is all this for? Why are you here? Go party. Let's go to the beach. Grind and sacrifice. Nobody here got anywhere without having to wake up early, having to leave late, right? And you say, you heard I teach at the University of Tampa, right? And I'll tell my students, hey, what are your expectations for when you leave here? And they're all like singularly like, oh, $65,000 a year, I'm going to work 40 hours. I'm like, who here works 40 hours? Raise your hand. Not a single person in here. You think the people that organized this took a 40-hour work week to make it happen? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You may get told you're here to do a thing. Sacrifice, grind, go for it. Go for it. When I look to hire somebody, when I look to bring somebody on board one of my teams, I don't care if you can do the do, right? I don't care if you really know how to do what we're there to do, right? I'm going to teach you that, right? I want to see what kind of a mentality you might have, right? What kind of mentality do you think I want you to have? A different one, sure. Heck, yeah. I mean, if your competition pool is any indication, if you're just a little bit different, you're going to win. But that's not what. Somebody said it. A go-getter, I like it. Determined. Yeah, those are great. I need you to have an ownership mentality, right? If you are my administrative assistant, you know how you're going to succeed? When you pretend that you're not. When you think you're the boss of my office because you own it and you say, Danny, we've got these things coming up. You're proactive, not reactive. You're invested in not only yourself, but you're invested in your team, right? Is that a selfless act or a selfish act? Come on.
Selfless.
Selfless, right? So an ownership mentality, you're like, I don't really get it. Right? I don't really get it. My people, the most successful people in the world, are thinking 3 steps ahead of what they have to do. When they finish their task list, they're wondering what else they can do to make the team succeed, make the team go forward, right? Right now, you're in a very individual world, right? It's your GPA. It's your application to law school or college or wherever the heck you're going, right? It's very you. None of that works when you come work with we, right? When you were the most important person when you're in high school because you're in that big little pond, right? You're the man, you're the woman, you're a stud. And then you come out in the real world and the real world starts to kick you in the teeth, right? Ownership mentality is what gets you to the place where you grind and you sacrifice, right? And then people start to recognize this is a rising star. This is a rising star. Do you know what one of my biggest fears is? One of my biggest fears is thinking I'm the most intelligent person in a room. So you know what I strive to do? I strive to be the dumbest person in the room. Why? Right. Because you are never too good. You're never too big, right? You're always learning, right? And so we expect you to be leaders. And you say, well, once I'm a leader, I'm in charge, I made it. You know what I say? You didn't just make it, your job just began. Right? Like I tell my people, right, anytime I'm in charge, hey, I'm just the conduit. You're the man. You're the woman. I want to be the dumbest guy in the room so that I can suck from everyone's knowledge and then get better and better every single day. I never want to stop learning, ever. 4 college degrees or not, go get a 5th. Go read a book. Go learn some life. But you, right, the day you think you're the baddest dog in the room is the day you get clipped. And it's great because you can always point them out. Those people will fizzle because y'all stars isn't to go up and then come down. What we want, why everyone's here, why we spend all this time and money is so that when your star goes up, it stays shining. And you can be the guide for other people, right? So that you can be the leader that we all want, right? So we spend time here so that you can be that constant star, not just the rising one. Be humble. Be humble. There are no invisible people in this life. None. None. How many times y'all walk by the janitor in the high school, don't even say hi? That's someone's dad. That's someone's mom, right? How do you know what that person has to contribute, right? How do you know that one simple task of when you treat your waitress with an utter amount of respect, that tells me more about you than any resume. So like you walk into my office and you want a job at my law firm when I had a law firm or any one of my businesses. I don't even look at your resume. Your resume got you in the door. I'm watching what you're doing, how you're interacting, how you treated the person that you can get absolutely nothing from, right? My front desk person, the person that you think is, well, that was my mom, right? That was my mom. And when you treated my mom like crap, guess what I'm thinking about you? Oh, you only need this job? You're only going to be nice to me or her when you want something from her, but the rest of the time she's expendable? There are no expendable people in this world. The faster you understand that, the better of a leader that you will be, right? The better of an individual you will be, the more ownership you will have of your own life. The more ownership you're going to have of your own life. You know, I'm only here to talk for about 20 or 30 minutes, right? We're literally, how are we on time?
We got 17 more minutes.
Okay, so we're doing pretty good. Leadership, all right? I've given you a couple of individual traits that you have to work on you, right? That you have to work on you. Who wants to be the boss? Raise your hand. Why are you embarrassed about that? Right? Raise your hand. Right. You want to be the boss. Why?
Because I'll be in charge.
Okay, because you'll be in charge. And there's nothing wrong with that. What if I told you you could change someone's life when you were in charge. Would that matter? Would that matter? Why? Ma'am.
Because you're impacting and benefiting more than just yourself.
That's right. So look, when people like that ring this room, right, they talk about doing good for others. It's not a catchphrase on your high school wall. These are things that we believe in. These are the codes that we live by, right? In our country, we always used to do this. We always used to be like, duty, honor, country, right? Have some pride, treat other people well, and now it's becoming a commodity, right? Now it's becoming like, wow, man, that's great. Yes, ma'am. When my son goes around and says yes, ma'am, and yes, sir, because if he doesn't, it's called scuff, scuff time, right? When he does that, you know what people are like, oh my God, your son looked at me in the eyes. I was like, yeah, of course he did. If he doesn't, right? He's wrong. So how about this? Listen. So the other day, my son gets into a fight at school. We know that story, right, brother? Gets into a fight at school. He gets suspended. And when I get the call, I was like, I'm looking at the phone. I was like, ma'am, this is Danny Alvarez. Did you mean to call me? Because, you know, Alvarez is like Smith for the Hispanic world. Did you mean to call me, ma'am? My son is Daniel Antonio Alvarez Jr. He got what? Yeah, he got into a fight, and we had to suspend him, mister. So I went straight down there. And they were all like, whoa, calm down, sir. And I was like, calm down? No, I'm just here to figure out how much punishment he's going to get when he gets home, right? Because we teach our kids to be accountable for their actions, and they stand up. Do you want to know what the biggest lesson from that was? You know what she told me? Mr. Alvarez, we were just very surprised with his behavior. And I was like, so am I, and I'm going to make sure he gets punished. She goes, no, that's not what I mean. I was like, oh all right, man, what do you mean? He told us the truth. I was like, huh? She goes, yeah, so when we asked him, did he punch the other guy and he get into a fight, she says, yeah. He said, yeah, yes, ma'am, I sure did. I did that. She says, is that your story? He says, yeah. And I said, well, ma'am, is that okay? She goes, well, he told us the truth, and we don't understand that. So, you know, it was like one of those moments like where you're just like, I don't know if I'm being punked. Is this going to go on Instagram? Are we going to be like, ha, gotcha? But it wasn't. The standard is so low these days, for your rising star to shine, it's easy, right? Be a person of your word, right? Do what you say you're going to do, right? You know, you don't even have to be good anymore. You know that, right? You don't have to be really good anymore. If you were like a new deputy, we would be super happy if you showed up on time. We'd be like, that's a go-getter. That's a winner, you know what I'm saying? And if you worked, if like at 5 o'clock, the clock is like, well, I watched it, and then you'll see like people are just like, it's time to go home, right? If you just stayed till like 5:01, we would be like, wow, that Danny guy, he really wants it. You don't have to be good anymore, you just have to be competent. But competency is not enough to be a rising star. It's not enough. If you want to lead, young lady, right, you're going to have to shine, right? You're going to have to pay the price to get there. And the price is big, right? The price is big. The difference between people that succeed and that don't, right? They don't have a time clock. They don't even have an alarm in the morning. Mondays, today is Monday. Look around. How many people are like, it's Monday again? You know, when you see people who are destined to succeed, they're like, it's Monday, let's rock. I've been working since last night, and I'm just happy that there's something. Did I almost spit on you? That's horrible. See, I know I'm fired up when I'm spitting, so I'm sorry. I'm Robbie. My bad. When it's Monday, you need to take it as, dang, another opportunity to succeed, another opportunity to move forward. All right, let's get off this porch. I got a couple minutes to take some questions. I want to wrap up with this, all right? What I see in front of me isn't like the future leader. I see the best, most important investment that we can make, right? That you're in these chairs is the most important thing in the world to me, all right? It's the most important thing to me, and it matters to all of us. That means if you're going to invest in yourself, these are people that we want to invest in. When you leave here, you know what my expectation of you is? Right? Not that you go home and you're like, oh yeah, I got a resume builder. That you take what you got here and you go teach other people, right? You have a responsibility. Leadership isn't a title. It's a thing that you always lead and live with, right? You can lead your brothers, you can lead your friends, right? You don't need a position, right? Thank you very much for having me. I got to tell you, man, I'm fired up. I'll open it up for questions. Thank you for having me. All right, go ahead. What do we got? Okay. Yes, sir.
Did you consider yourself to be a leader even before you got kicked out of college?
I don't think of myself like that. I just think about let's do the right thing, right? So when you do and you believe in a right thing mentality, people will flock. You know why they flock to you? Because you have the courage to step out when no one has. I don't see it as courageous. I just see it as being normal, right? But so many people are filled with self-doubt. You know what I mean? You have all the power inside of you. You know what I mean? Y'all's generation is totally different than ours, right? I'm 44. I feel like I'm 84, right? When it comes to the gulf in difference between you guys, right? We've told you guys your whole life, you're different, you're special. You have this thing inside you. Now you got to just focus it to thinking about others, not just yourself. So the answer is no, I don't see it that way. I think it's just the way you are, and you've got it. Yes, ma'am.
What businesses do you own at this moment?
What businesses do I own at this moment? I own a weapons training company. I own some weapons company. I own a gear company. I own an accounting company. That's it for now. Huh? Am I hiring? Great, that's motivator. What do you got for me? No, the answer is I'm not hiring right now, but I do like the ask. That's fantastic. What else? Who else? Sir.
Now you said you were Hispanic, right?
Yes.
How did that influence you in a different, very way in mentality, as if it were another person?
Great question. I really don't see myself as Hispanic. I see myself as an American, right? That has Hispanic heritage, right? But without a doubt, that influenced me to no end, right? So my grandparents got kicked out of their country. They're Cubans, right? And they actually tried to assassinate my grandfather, you know what I mean? So when I came to America, my entire family served because it was, in the army or the military, because we felt it was our responsibility to give back to the very nation that essentially saved our lives. So being Hispanic motivated me in a different kind of way because we were dirt poor, right? In this country, we had the opportunity to succeed, whereas where my parents were from, if you were born poor, you stay poor. Here, you stay poor because you choose to, right? And let me rephrase that. I'm not trying to say that the poor people are lazy or whatever. I'm saying you have a choice that doesn't exist. And if you go to Central and South America, you live in a dirt hut, you're going to stay in a dirt hut. And they're going to tell you that you are nothing. They're going to tell you that you have no opportunity. But here, we're telling you the exact opposite. We're telling that you could be the son and daughter of a janitor. Or, my family was raised combined on $35,000. There were 6 of us. You know what I mean? 6 of us. My dad would work literally 2 jobs, and he would work at Ross during the Christmas break so that he could get a discount and take his entire paycheck and buy us clothes and then give us clothes in a garbage bag. You know what I mean? So for me, that was always hand in hand with my Hispanic heritage because we were here, and we had an incredible opportunity, and that's where the shame came from failing college because, man, I had just wasted it. All this sacrifice my family had done, and I just essentially threw it away.
What was the motivation?
What was my motivation? It was a motivation, yeah. Yeah, you have a big responsibility. Ma'am.
I'm from Colombia and I came here.
Love Colombia.
I came here 2 years ago. So I think that as being Colombian and knowing how is the situation there, you learn how to appreciate the things you
That's
get
right.
here.
Are you asking me or are you telling me?
Um,
You're telling me, yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful to know the difference between here and there because you don't really get many opportunities there.
Right.
You can work your ass off there and you don't get anything.
Right.
if you don't have any connection to the government,
Right.
you don't have any.
That's exactly right. So it's all about opportunity, but then what are you going to do with that opportunity, right? So you've got to take what we've learned today and you're going to learn this week and make a big difference. What else? Yes, ma'am.
I know, like, as leaders, self-doubt is supposed to motivate you to become better, but in your personal opinion, like, your personal, like, I don't know, testimony of your life, do you think your self-doubt has held you back at all, or do you think it's motivated you?
Oh, what a great question. You know what's awesome about that? Here's what's great. So people were like, Danny, you've done all these things, you know. Do you know, like, there's times when inside my own head I'm like, what in the heck am I doing? Like, can I do this, right? I'm not going to show you that, right? But I'm expressing this to you because everyone in here is full of self-doubt. Look, and Tommy's son is a paratrooper, okay? So this story will mean. When you're in an airplane, all right, and they tell you you're about to jump out of the airplane, right? You look and you're like, we're all in our gear, and you're looking around and you're like, well, I got to be this tough guy. You know, I'm this tough guy, right? And you're super tough and you're hardcore. And the very first time I ever jumped out of a plane, I'm looking at the dude across from me. He was like this big ranger and he was super tough, and I looked and I admired him. And when the door opened up, right, we were like, the airplane stank. There's all these dudes in there. We're all hot and sweaty. And you could see the door open up and like this curve of the cold winter air came in, and as it hit everyone, they woke up and they realized, oh my God, we are not landing in this airplane. We are leaving this airplane, okay? There was fear in everyone's eyes. There's self-doubt in everyone's eyes, okay? That's natural. What you do with that fear, right, is the difference between making it and not making it. I am scared all the time, right? I am scared to mess up all the time, and I recognize I will. You know what I mean? I told you I fail, and I fail hard. I fail, and I have 2 regrets in my life. 2. And they all stem from when I let fear win me. But after that, it became this fuel, and you better get out of the way. Because when you got a motivated Danny Alvarez, oh, you better move. I hope when we have a motivated you, it's the same thing. All right, last question. One more? All right, so anyone else? Ma'am.
What advice can you give to someone like myself who has no idea what they want to do with their life? Like,
That's good. You have no idea what you want to do with your life?
I have a few ideas, but I'm not set on it.
Then I would tell you, all right, wait to pull your trigger and pull it when you're primarily focused on what you want, and don't compromise. You're in the most dangerous spot as a young person, right? I don't know what I want to do. And then someone flashes something shiny here, and you're like, oh my God, let me go over here, right? And then someone over here goes, well, what if you did? And then you're over here. It's going to happen. You do that, right? You're young. Take your time. Focus on your passion, not your dollar. Do what you want to do, right? Do what moves you, and your contribution to us, right, will be 10 times greater than if you went around and you just compromised your whole life. And that goes for everyone, to be honest with you, right? So people, especially in this room, always are like, Danny, you had a law firm. You were a successful lawyer, 10 years. Why would you come work for the sheriff's office? It's because of that very thing. My entire life, I've been chasing that need to be part of something greater than me. It wasn't just a word. It just wasn't something that I thought, oh, it's a good catchphrase for my resume. It was my passion center, right? And so when the sheriff's office gave me this opportunity, look, I probably would have swept the floor if they said I could do this job. You know what I mean? And when I got here, it literally felt like I was home, and I felt like I just wasted 10 years of my life being a bobo trying to chase money and things that were shiny over here, when in reality my passion center was always to be working with these men and women in any capacity, right? Because we serve something greater than us, and that's what I need for my life, right? So you got to figure out what you need for your life, and do not pull the trigger until you're ready to go. Does that make sense? That's a great question. Yes, ma'am.
What do you do when you want to succeed more than you want to breathe? So you want to please people more than you want to please
Well, there's two
yourself?
different things. You want to please people more than yourself, or you want to succeed?
Both.
It could be but it could be how you succeed, right? It's how you succeed. As long as you never lose focus of what your end goals are going to be, right? You pleasing others, right, could be part of that. But you always, if you can't take care of yourself, right, you're no good to us, right? If you don't, in law school, I remember this intensely. I had a friend of mine who's like, Danny, I want to be a lawyer. I want to go help migrant workers, right? We're going to go fight the man. And I was like, yeah, go fight the man. It's awesome. And then I sit and think about it. I was like, you know how you fight the man? Go get rich and powerful. You want to go help migrant workers as an attorney? You can go spit in the wind one case at a time, right? Or you can go out there and become influential, be the successful person that you're doing all of the time. You're helping pull people up. And then when you have a real issue, I can now call 10 people of high influence, right? And we can do a lot instead of trying to make 1,000 calls, right? As just one little person. But that person had to focus on her first, and she's doing it. She's grinding, she's succeeding, and her reach and influence is tenfold what it was. But people will come and get it. People will try to take from you all the time, you know what I mean? You just have to learn how to balance it. Sir?
How do you know when you're acting to help somebody else or acting to please somebody else?
How do you? How do you know?
Um,
Is your mom Pat's?
no.
No? All right, go ahead.
Just like, how do you know, like, sometimes I feel like when I'm doing, like, different things, like, I have, like, the intention of trying to, like, better somebody around me so I can have more of an impact. But then sometimes I'm not sure if I'm acting in a way that I can kind of, like, impress the people around.
Okay, so it's a great question. How do we know we're doing the right thing for the right reasons? Okay, so you can advise businesses the same way. You can have a dual motivation. We all have an ego, right? We all have an ego. We all have the self-interest, right? What I try to free people from is that if you did something good for others while getting an individual benefit, I've got no hate for that. Because the end goal is somebody got help. So how many times have you seen people like go work at Metropolitan Ministries and they're like this? At Metropolitan Ministries, feeding the homeless. And I look at him like, dude, what are you there for, right? But I'm not being critical. I'm going to keep that inside, right? If that's what helped get that person in there to help that Metropolitan Ministries, it's a win. If you're asking as an individual what I would do is I always go check my barometer, right? I always go check my barometer. Why am I here? For who am I trying to benefit, right? I know it's going to benefit me. You saw me there, right? And if it was my business, you're like, Dan, I want to go do business with someone that's good to the community. I got it. But really, how many migrants did we help? How many individuals did we feed during Thanksgiving? To me, is that my real motivation, right? And then how about you go do things when no one's looking, right? Gut yourself, you know what I mean? Go give a meal to someone on Thanksgiving without posting it on your Facebook. If you can do it, if you can survive it, then you've got your motivations. Does that make sense? But I like that you want to give, right? I like that you want to give. Sir?
Just a comment. I had an experience like a couple of weeks back. I work at the YMCA, right? And well, since little, I grew up in Puerto Rico, right? And my grandparents always taught me to do something without people looking, right? And like a couple of weeks back, I was running, right? Nothing. I didn't have my phone with me or anything. And this World War II veteran was walking down, going up the stairs to take his trash can, and so I passed him, and then I don't know, somehow my guilty conscience was like I should have done him. So I ran back, I took and I put the trash can up, right? So and curiously, the day after, my boss saw me actually when she was driving down the driveway, and she like put me on a leadership role in my workplace because of my different qualities that she observed like outside the community.
So why'd you help the guy?
It was just my
It was
heart. My heart.
it told you to do the right thing, right? So your guilty conscience made you turn around and you went and help the guy. And then someone praised you for it. You know, here's what's funny. You know what my job here is? My job is to bring light to these men and women here on a regular basis. Do you know how hard my job is? You might think it's really easy. I can't, like, these dudes will go in, save someone's life, right? And they're like, is it lunch? And I'm like, no, dude, I got to go tell your story. They're like, no, don't say a word. I don't want to talk about it. Like, no, I want to talk about it. You know why I want to talk about it? Because that humble, like, right, selfless act of their daily grind, right, I need more people to see it. In today's day and age, I want more people to see it. But not because they want to show it, because they don't. Because they don't. They don't want credit, right? They don't want credit. I'll never forget, I legitimately will never forget, we had a story, we just gave this huge Medal of Valor recently. 2 deputies walk in, they see someone that looks like they're down, they're definitely not moving. The house is on fire, they have to break into the house. The house is cooking off bullets that the guy had stored in the house, you know what I'm saying? And the bullets are, I mean, are you picturing this? There's smoke coming out, there's bullets going off, and they walk in and walk out, and I try to go put them on camera, and they're like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. What? You don't want here we are, just saying this dude's life. Nobody wants to talk about it, right? I so want to be them. I want you to strive to be them. You know what I mean? Because that is the most humble, selfless leadership I've ever seen in my life. And that's why I can go sit in front of a camera and talk about men and women like this, men and women like I think you are, because that is the best of our society. And that's what I want you to be modeled after, right? Selfless, humble, giving, doing for others, putting everyone else first. That's leadership. All right? All right, guys. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It's been a big honor. All right, thank you.